All right, welcome to the Explainer. And today, oh man, we've got a story for you. It's the kind of thing that'll make you second guess your next vacation rental. It starts out like a dream trip, but it ends up as a total nightmare.
You know what? Let's just jump right into the most terrifying moment of this whole thing. It all kicked off with just a few simple, polite words. It was a man's voice. And what's so creepy is that it was calm, almost too polite. Not yelling, not desperate, just a request. And this voice, it was coming from inside a locked shed, a place where nobody, and I mean nobody, should have been. Picture this. It's 3 a.m. You're in the middle of the desert, and our narrator is standing right outside that shed holding a kitchen knife. The big question is, how in the world did we get here? Okay, let's back it up. So this whole mess started with what was supposed to be the perfect vacation. You know the vibe. A quiet little getaway at this super modern Airbnb out in Palm Springs. I mean, just imagine it. You've got this sleek place, a private pool all to yourself, and literally nothing around but the desert stretching out forever. It sounds like pure relaxation, right? Well, it turns out the best thing about this rental was also its biggest, most dangerous problem. See, the listing boasted about absolute privacy, and that's exactly what they got. But the flip side of absolute privacy is absolute isolation. And that means if something goes sideways, nobody's around to hear you. So let me ask you this. How many times have you heard some weird thump in the middle of the night and just told yourself, it's just the house settling. We all do it, right? It's easier than thinking about what else it could be. And that's exactly what this couple did for the first 2 nights. They heard a thump against the house, even a faint voice, and just wrote it off as, wind, desert animals, whatever. But then came the third night, and suddenly, that whole house settling excuse, yeah, it just wasn't going to fly anymore. So it's around midnight, and suddenly, light starts creeping in through the blinds. A motion sensor went off. But here's the thing. It wasn't just one light, and it definitely wasn't random. This is where that little feeling of unease turns into real, genuine fear. This wasn't some animal just wandering through the yard. Think about this. First, a light goes off at the edge of the property. Then another one triggers along the side of the house. And then a third one, even closer, right by the pool. It's a deliberate path. Someone or something was methodically moving around the house, in the dark, while they were inside. Now, his girlfriend, she was terrified. She's begging him, just close the blinds, let's ignore it. But he was 100% convinced someone was out there. And his brain, maybe it was curiosity, maybe it was a bit of ego, just could not let it go. And isn't it true, so many horror movies would be over in like 5 minutes if the guy didn't feel the need to go check it out. So ignoring his girlfriend, ignoring every horror movie trope ever, he grabs the biggest kitchen knife he can find and he heads outside to investigate. Okay, so he slides the glass door open and steps out into the dead silence of the desert night. And this is the exact moment that the vague what-if fear becomes very, very real. He looks down at the dirt, and there it is. The proof. Clear shoe prints. Not animal tracks, definitely human. His heart is just pounding in his chest as he follows them, and they lead straight to the closed doors of the pool shed. He just stands there for what feels like an eternity, maybe 5 seconds, of just suffocating silence. And then he hears it, that same calm, polite voice from inside the shed. And then it was followed by this quiet, impossibly creepy laugh. He didn't stick around. He sprinted back inside, slammed the door, locked, and immediately called 911. And while they're huddled inside, completely in the dark, they can see those motion lights outside just clicking on and off, on and off. They were totally blind, but they knew someone was still out there, circling the house. But, you'd think the nightmare is over once the cops show up, right? Think again. After what felt like forever, about 20 minutes, the police finally get there. But the scariest part of this story wasn't the guy in the shed. Oh no. The real horror was still to come. All right, so the police start searching the property. Flashlights are cutting through the darkness everywhere, and they check the whole outside area. But then they start searching inside the house. And this is where everything changes. When the officers checked the shed, the guy was gone. All they found were some empty water bottles and food wrappers. So it seemed like the danger was over, right? The police just figured some drifter was squatting in there and got spooked. The couple breathed a huge sigh of relief, thinking they just barely dodged a bullet.
Then, an officer walks back into the living room and asks a really weird question. Hey, does either of you own a dirty baseball hat? They both say no, of course not. And then comes the punchline. The one little detail that makes the entire night 1,000 times worse.
They found it, pushed way down, deep behind the living room couch. Think about what that means. The man, he wasn't trying to get in, he was already inside. He'd been in the house with them the whole time, maybe when they were swimming in the pool or making dinner or even when they were sleeping. He wasn't trapped outside trying to get in. He was trapped inside trying to get out without them noticing.
So, what's the takeaway here? Well, for one, absolute privacy can also mean absolute vulnerability. It's a chilling reminder to never ignore those little gut feelings, especially when you see a pattern, like those motion lights. So the next time you're staying somewhere new and you hear a strange noise, you really have to ask yourself, is that just the house settling? Or is someone else already in here with you?